Monday recap. So yesterday night I took a win on Asia, so I came in today not really needing to trade. I would have traded light if anything, but nonetheless, I missed two setups and I need to figure this shit out because bruh, I can't be missing like easy ass setups like this like ever again. So going into the day, we dumped a shit ton overnight, right? And we started building back up. Now, looking at this, right, there was some big hourly gaps, right? But thing is, we had some liquidity points that we wanted to sweep out right here. I marked all them out. So even though we're inside of the gap, if we show signs that we're bullish, we're probably still bullish and we'll sweep that out. But that doesn't mean that we're bullish for, a long term. You can definitely expect a reversal. But if you get a retrace like this to like a 5 minute gap, let's say displacement, boom. But yeah, so nonetheless, going into 9:30, shoot up like this, beautiful fucking volume. We sweep out the first target. Great. Then we start chopping around for until I say this chop probably stopped at 10, 12. So about 45 minutes of chop, straight chop. And also the best thing about this, we are actually correlated on both of the assets. Like ES wasn't crazy high, NQ wasn't crazy low or anything like that. So we were actually correlated, which is fucking awesome. Um, but so right here, right? Just looking at these gaps, we displace above. We create a 15-minute gap right here. 15-minute. We also have a 10-minute gap right here, and then also a 5-minute gap lower. So basically, whatever we eject off of, I expected like the lowest would probably be the 5 minute, and the highest would be the 15-minute. Any of those where we reject from, that's perfectly fine with me. We didn't exactly retrace the equilibrium, but close enough. What I've noticed is that price doesn't necessarily need to retrace the equilibrium. Oh my God, equilibrium. It is nice if it does, but it's kind of just like an added confluence. Um, but so we tap into this 10-minute, right? And we think the draw is still higher. And so we get this big displacement candle. Now, what I was doing, right, is I wanted the inverse right here. So I put my stops down here, TP up here, 1.5 RR. That's a problem, bro, because we close all the way up here and I wanted a retrace. Actually, I put it right here. That is where I wanted it to close, and it closed way above. Now, there's no problem with this trade still because it is still a 1-to-1. And when it closed all the way above there, you can move your stops to here. So it's even better. But my problem is I'm risking 300. I want to make 450. So I'm trying to get 1.5 R every single time. That's not going to happen, bro. Especially when we're really bullish or really bearish. It's not going to do some crazy ass retrace to fill you. You don't want to get left behind. I got left behind today. So what I wanted was just a retrace into this gap, but we never got that. Um, so going into the future, when I'm taking these trades, whatever my target is, I'm gonna put a safe stop and I'm gonna mark it out at 1-to-1. If I get filled, if it closes all the way up here and we don't fill, that's fine with me. But if we close above it and then we fill it, but it doesn't come down to like my 1.5 R point, I should still be in that trade because all I need is a 1-to-1 RR. So that's an L on my part. That's a mistake. I made this mistake before, and I think I'm gonna write out just like a page of very specific sizing rules, basically. So my problem is just getting filled, and like RR wise, it's really not any of the technicalness of it anymore. So just the sizing, because I don't want to be risking too much or too little. So going for these displacement trades, 1-to-1 minimum, right? And if it closes above, you just wait for it to fill you at 1-to-1 and you take that trade. Boom. All right. And we sweep another high and then we start displacing down. Now we are still in that high time frame gap, and we also filled a 4 hour gap with this line right here. ES also swept liquidity. We didn't exactly tap the 4 hour, but we swept liquidity in both assets. We just tapped to a 4 hour. And then we on the 5 minute, we have this 5 minute inverse right here, right? So I noticed that this 5 minute inverse happens. And this low seems pretty free. I want to target this low. Not exactly the RR I want. With higher time frame, they are higher win rate, but me myself, I don't have personal experience with that. So I'm expecting myself to have a lower win rate with that than with, my retracement to a gap and displacement because that is what I know. And this is I've seen it before and I use it for bias, but not for entering trades yet. So for these type of trades, what I want or what I wanted, right? 5 minute close down here. I wanted to retrace into these gaps and take it to these lows, right? That's a 2.5 RR. I really like that. But what happened? We didn't get filled, right? It's not always going to happen like that, you know? But if I took the 5 minute close, just right there, stops that high, TP at the low, right? And minimum 1.5 RR, I would have gone filled right there. So here's the plan going into the future, right? I'm taking my normal displacement trade. All I need is set your risk reward tool 1 to 1, right? Risk the $300 or a little bit over it. And then if it closes below, if it still gives you the confirmation and closes below your target, enter on that, right? If it closes at the line, enter on that. If it closes above it, wait for it to fill you at the 1 RR and then, trade that shit and get some dubs. For 5 minute reads, right? I can take it as long as it is at least 1.5 RR. If it closes below where I want and it's less than 1.5 RR, you wait for a retrace. Don't necessarily wait for a retrace into a fair value gap. Yes, technically that would make sense. That is where price will most likely reject from, but it's not always going to fill it, you know? So I'm just going to keep that in mind going into the future. And I just hope I never make that mistake ever again. Um, And yeah, PM was pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie. We just chopped a bunch and did some weird shit. We were then uncorrelated a decent amount. But yeah. So that's it for the day. I missed out on 2 trades. Why? Because I didn't get filled. Why? Because I did not set I did not set very specific RR and sizing rules that I need to do for the future. So I will definitely be doing that. Honestly, I don't need to write it down. I know exactly what I need to do now, and I'm just gonna execute on that, So, yep, that's it for the day.